Hey, what's up guys? Ken here from the Retro Toys Capates channel. If you're new here and enjoying the content, do take a moment to subscribe so that I can keep bringing you more pop culture commentary that you didn't ask for. So I just got a whole batch of these Willow movie toys from 1988 and I wanted to share my thoughts on them and the movie, one of the films that I have really fond memories of. So I'll be talking through and going through the figures in the lot at the same time. Thanks for joining me and let's get started. So Willow is one of my earliest fantasy movie experiences that I remember watching in the cinemas. I caught it in 1988 when it first came out and I was something like 12 years old back then. Now fantasy films were a real rarity back in the day, or should I say good fantasy films. And you could really count them on one hand, like maybe the first Conan movie, Clash of the Titans, Dragon Slayer, Krull. Hey, let me know what you remember from back in the day. Of course, ever since the Lord of the Rings trilogy came out from 2001, these movies have become the norm, and the quality has been all over the place too. But Willow was really special, and unlike most of the other fantasy sword and sorcery films, it really was an adventure that was suitable for the whole family to enjoy. Now, I honestly never even knew that there was a toy line to go with the movie, and only started becoming aware of it something like 10 years ago when I began to get back into retro toys. But yeah, this thing has been called one of the worst toy lines ever made, if not the worst. But is it really? Now when you look at the toys themselves, the whole thing can be somewhat frustrating. On one hand, you have this beautiful movie poster quality artwork on the card back. Just stunning painted stuff. Even the backs of the cards showed a lot of effort put into them, with a movie still photo of the character and a description to go with it. But then you get to the figures themselves, and they are just these solid molds of plastic. They can't move, and they have pretty poor facial sculpts. In some ways, the series may have been ahead of its time. If these came out today, you can easily see people collecting them with, I don't know, less hatred. Because people today sure do like toys and collectibles that are small, have limited articulation, sometimes none, and are just there for display. There is something interesting here. Both the Nockmaar Lieutenant and the Nockmaar Warrior have similar character descriptions. Both their biodatas start with the phrase, "He has no pity." Now Sasha here is described as the beautiful warrior on the card. But the facial sculpt makes her look like a man. Now it's like the sculptors were basing the likenesses from memory. Like they had access to the character portraits once, just once, and had to sculpt them from whatever they could remember. Now regardless, I remember leaving the theatre with just this huge crush on actress Joanne Whaley. Now one of the things that frustrates me to no end is that the figures were not packed in even-sized plastic trays. Now you can see how the plastic on the card is molded all around the figure. That just makes stacking the figures one on top of the other for storage almost impossible. No, wait, it is impossible. Because if you try to do that, they would just come crashing down. General Kale here is supposed to be the fearsome, evil leader of the bad guy soldiers. But the sculpting on his mask makes him look like a monkey. I mean, it's supposed to be a really menacing skull mask, like the back of the package shows. But it doesn't come off that way. Hey, anyone else see a monkey here when they look at the figure? Now here we have Val Kilmer's very first toy figure as the character Madmartigan. But hey, any of you planning to repurpose this to Goose from Top Gun, think again. You'd have to wait until 1995's Val Kilmer Bruce Wayne figure from Batman Forever for a more reasonable attempt. Now you can't really say the action figure technology of the time prevented these figures from being better. We already had pretty fantastic sword and sorcery themed figures at that time, such as LJN's Dungeons and Dragons and Hasbro's Visionaries. So really, it's possible that these were just made on the cheap. Now having said that, this version of Madmartigan on horseback somehow looks a bit better. And you know what? It's great that the back of the card has a different portrait of the actor instead of the same one that they used on the single pack. Then you also have the figure's main character, Willow, arrgghhh, which was a mail-away exclusive. Now this doesn't make any sense as the character was already available carded, and the only difference in the exclusive is that the character has a different colored shirt. Now there was a carded version of him that came with the human baby that everyone in the film was trying to grab. They should have just made that one the exclusive instead. Now interestingly, when you line up all the figures on horses in a row, all of them are charging from the left, except for Madmartigan, who's charging from the right. So guys, that's the video. Tell me what you think of the Willow toy line if you ever collected it. And do give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. And do support the channel by subscribing so that we can keep going. Thank you, and I'll catch you guys again real soon.